Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, thank you so much. We appreciate it. So let me ask you about a smaller field now, if you will, that former Dallas ISD Superintendent Michael Hinojosa has told me he is not going to be running for Dallas mayor. What's your thought about that? What does that say about your reelection campaign?
To be honest with you, Jack, I mean, I really, I don't know who's running for mayor. I don't know who's not running for mayor. I really spend no time thinking about that. I mean, I'm the mayor of the city. I was elected to do a job almost 4 years ago, and my focus is on doing it. You know, when I wake up every single day, I take my kids to school, I go to work, and I start working for the people of Dallas. And so every waking moment I spend that's not with my family, I spend working on the issues that I know are facing our city. And we've had some big wins over the past 4 years, but I spend zero time thinking about who else may live in a city of 1.4 million people who may dream of having the job of being the mayor of Dallas. So I have no idea who's running, who's not running, but I know that I will be on the ballot in May of 2023 for reelection.
Why do you believe the voters of Dallas should reelect you?
Well, Jack, I mean, it's about a direction that the city's going in. I think anytime that people go to vote, particularly for mayor, they should be asking themselves, do I like the direction the city is going in? If you look at the story of Dallas, it's actually a national success story. We are called the comeback city by some folks around this country because of how quickly we've rebounded from the pandemic. The whole world was dealing with the pandemic, but not everybody's bounced back the way we have. $14 billion of new investment in Dallas over the past 4 years, that's extraordinary. Crime falling, violent crime falling 2 years in a row when crime is raging around the country and going up in most top 10 cities, all top 10 cities in most major cities, but it's going down in Dallas. It's a great thing. Ethics reform, cutting back, cutting down on the corruption issues and, eradicating corruption at City Hall, passing a historic ethics reform. We've done a lot of great things in this city over the past 4 years. So I think if you ask voters the direction the city is going in, they'll say it's going in the right direction. And that's really what I think voters are going to have to consider when they go to the polls in May. And I hope that they will answer that question in the affirmative and say, I think the mayor's doing a great job.
You listed a number of accomplishments. What are your proudest accomplishments?
I try to look forward, not look back. But I mean, the reality is you can't deny the fact that there really was a movement in this country to defund the police. And I took a very firm stance against that when it was not popular. And we've been proven right, those of us who believed that you don't cut the police budget and you don't cut overtime and you don't do those things in the middle of a violent crime uptick. We got a great police chief. I was very adamant about the type of police chief we needed. We got the exact type of police chief I asked for, which was a data-driven chief who was going to prioritize reducing violent crime and not minimize the issue and pretend like it wasn't as big of an issue as it was. And here we are. We're the only city in the top 10 in America that had its violent crime fall last year. And now we're looking at having it fall 2 years in a row, which is just, I'm so proud of that fact, because that means lives. That's the most important thing a city does, is provide public safety. And that means we've been succeeding in keeping more people alive in this city than we did the year before. And that's a big deal to me. But it's also important that we've added $14 billion of new investment to our city to help lower people's tax rates in this city. We've actually lowered our tax rate, biggest tax rate reduction in over 40 years in this city happened on my watch. So there's a lot to be proud of, Jack, to be honest with you. But I think saving lives is the most important.
And I wanted to ask you, looking forward, what do you hope to accomplish next? What are your top priorities if you are to be reelected for a second term?
It's always a balance of making sure you don't take the foot off the gas of the things that you're doing well on. So the things we just talked about, the public safety accomplishments, the investment in our city, the $14 billion of new investment in the city, ethics reform and succeeding in creating an office of Solicitor General to crack down on corruption at City Hall. All those things are major accomplishments, and we want to make sure we continue to go down that path. We don't want to lose the progress that we've made there, but we also have to, at the same time, be looking forward at all times to accomplish new things. So passing Prop A was a huge deal, and that means now it's time to get very serious about redeveloping our downtown, rejuvenating our central business district through the convention center and the project that represents for our city, the type of development that could spur a huge deal for enhancing our city's tax base and for making our downtown more vibrant. I want to increase the amount of city parkland more than any time in our history, more than any mayor in the history of our city. I'd like to see parkland in this city increase, many-fold. I think that we have a lot of city-owned property right now that could be converted to parkland, and it's my intention over the next 4 years to push very hard to green up our city and to have a growth in the amount of city parkland that we've never seen before in this city. And so I think that's a major, major focus of the next 4 years should be creating new parks for our families to enjoy. And of course, we need to work on some other issues and challenges that we've always had, that most major cities have. And so homelessness and some things like that are things that are going to require more attention. But I'm very, very optimistic, Jack. Things are moving in the right direction. I think they're going to continue to do that.
Wanted to ask you about affordable housing.
Yeah.
What is your sense of what the city has been able to accomplish on that, and where would you like to take it?
We need more affordable housing in the city, but we have to be realistic about something. Affordable housing is not unlike any other good or service in an economy. It responds to supply and demand forces like everything else. And so there's only so much we're going to be able to do by the way of subsidy. We're going to have to get out of the private sector's way to develop and build more affordable housing. My big push has been and is going to continue to be to eliminate the barriers to permitting in our city. We need to permit more efficiently the construction of new housing. It's quite simple. If you think back to your beginning economics class, if we increase the supply of housing, the private sector builds more houses, housing prices will fall in the city, and it'll fall naturally. It won't fall because of some government intervention in the housing market, which it's just not sustainable, and it's not creating the volume of units that we'd like. As we can see, we're not creating housing at the rate that we need to, but the way we can get there is through the efforts that we've been making, and we do some trying to encourage financing of housing through housing tax credits and things like that, but we really have to get out of the private sector's way and acknowledge that they know best how to develop housing, and we need to get out of the way by making it easier to permit the building of housing.
Last question, and that is the number of endorsements that you have received, the money that you have raised. What do you make of that? What do you believe that says about your reelection efforts?
I think there's a group of folks in any community who have demonstrated that they have the community's best interest at heart, that are invested in the community, who've given a lot to the community, and therefore they care about the future of the community. So I think, and what I take from endorsements from folks like people who've held the office of mayor, 4 former mayors who are living in our city still, and the endorsements of members of Congress, the endorsements of 30 former council members who gave large amounts of time and effort to making the city better, for them to come out 7 months before an election to say, we've got the right horse, we're moving in the right direction, we like the direction the city's going in, and we need to reelect the mayor, is very humbling, and it's an honor. And I think it says that folks who really know what it takes to do this job and who really care about the city like the direction we're going in and like the leadership that I'm providing and want to see it continue. So I think it's wonderful. I'm humbled by it. I'm grateful for it. But I think it means that folks who know are saying, let's reelect the mayor and let's keep this momentum going. Let's keep this big Dallas energy going.
Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jack.
We appreciate your time.
Of course.